they don't practice on Friday. They're going to walk through, and then you'll travel, or, well, it's a home game, but you'll have the game on Saturday. So, with 2 days, that screams to me. Here's the way I make the decision if I'm the Browns. I mean, we already know that you have an unknown and probably unready commodity in Manziel. To me, here's how I decide if I'm Mike Pettine. I give Brian Hoyer the first half of Saturday's game, and I make my decision strictly based off him. If he stinks for an entire first half without being pulled in and pulled out and moved around, then I'm going to go with Manziel in week 1 and say the hell with it, man, because clearly something's not working here. And I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm just saying you don't need to see them both and squeeze them into the first half of this game. If Hoyer goes out there, the offense moves, they look like they've got their stuff together, then that's my guy in week 1, and we'll take it from there if things fall apart. If he still can't do it, then he lost his own job, and I'm going to start getting the kid ready, and I'm just going to take my lumps with it, but I do think, how do you have to make some kind of decision. For people that say, well, the Browns can wait, I guess you can. You have 2 days of practice this week. Then isn't the final preseason game a Thursday or a Friday night game for the Browns? So
yeah,
you're coming back with another short. You have the last 2 preseason games are basically within the next 12 days or whatever. So
that's the whole league, Jerry. That's the whole league, though. The whole league finishes on.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean.
Thursday and Friday night.
What I mean is to make a change. Like, let's say you say we're going to wait another week. Okay, well, now you're all the way up against it, trying to get the rookie who's already swimming in all this stuff that he's trying to figure out. If you're going to go with him, do it today. Say, you know what, we're going with Manziel. At least give yourself 2.5 weeks to get him ready. I just think that nobody's going to be ready if you wait any longer. I know that's the popular story today. Well, the Browns should wait another week to decide. I think that just makes things even worse. No matter which way you go, pick your way and throw your hat into the ring and go with it. But no more riding the fence. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Waiting another week does not help anybody. It certainly doesn't help your team.
No.
And believe it or not, it certainly doesn't help the fan base to be behind your team. If you're trying to rally your fan base to get behind the team and get behind the guy, you got to decide who it is sooner rather than later.
If you don't know, you can come if it's Hoyer, you can come out today and go, hey man, you guys saw as much as we did. We got some work to do to get on the same page, and I feel more comfortable going with the veteran for now, and we'll reevaluate things as they go. Boom, done. Because what I was telling John McMullen yesterday, and even if it's the opposite, even if you picked Manziel, I want to see them once this is over. Let's see them both go out there and play now that this is done, because I've been very careful today because I don't want to be the guy that sounds like I'm making excuses for Brian Hoyer, because I was definitely not happy with what I saw from him last night. But you look at the way the first 2 drives went for him, and I was joking that things went really set up well for Johnny Football last night, but he couldn't take advantage of it because, you fumble the snap and then you get a penalty, and next thing you know. But the only 2 passes that Hoyer got off in his first couple drives were both dropped by the receiver. So, you go, man, the guy couldn't even get anything going. And part of me wonders if, the third time out when you switch to quarterback, if it would have gotten better. That's why I say put him out there, let him not worry about getting pulled out, and then go out there and see what he does. Because I'm telling you, and this is for even those of you that don't like Hoyer out there, admit that what you've seen so far is not the same guy that you saw when he played in his limited action those couple of games last year. He doesn't have the confidence. And you could say the same about Manziel. He obviously is not the same confident guy, and you knew that because he's getting all kinds of lessons in the NFL. But neither one of those quarterbacks are playing with any confidence at all. You can't play the quarterback position if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, and I'm talking about both of them.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's going to be a really big problem if you let this go on too long. True that if you wait till before the 4th week to make the decision, you do have, a week after guys come back from the Labor Day break to get ready. But to me, I don't think that's enough time to get a rookie ready. Hoyer might get ready a little quicker because he's already been in the league and he has some experience. However much that's worth for, I don't know. We're going to have we're going to have a hard time. And I think this goes for teams in general in the NFL. They're going to have a hard time coming back from a situation like this if they're picking the rookie, or the second-year guy as opposed to the veteran. And this is why it lends to a veteran having a leg up anyway, because they've already got that background experience.
I agree, and I think the dysfunction in the offense makes Mike Pettine even more go, you know what? Like, we can't add more problems until this offense is working together. We can't even consider, because, you're not being realistic if you don't admit that there are a lot of technical flubs still being worked out with Johnny. It's just the nature of what happens. It's not just Pittsburgh. It's the team in general. And I'm telling you, just like talking about, like you said, leaning towards the veteran, you can't, here's the other thing, you can't wait another week and then say it's Manziel. You know why? Because you're going to have to play him extensively in the fourth preseason game to get him ready for the first game of the season. But you don't want to play your starter. You already said you're going to be picked. We don't know how far you're going to go with your starters. So you're going to have him out there in the fourth preseason game with second and third string guys? Again, you cut it short. I think, and this is the whole camp, I think it's all going to end up at Hoyer because you didn't leave yourself enough time to make the switch. I know Pettine's been saying for a week now all the options are on the table, but I think realistically that's not true, because I don't think the Manziel option's on the table if you wait any longer. And realistically, you probably should have made the decision last week so that he could dip his foot in Washington. He could go the whole first half in the third week, and then you could feel confident that he was your guy. And if not, then you've still got Hoyer as your life raft in week 4, and you could go, maybe we got to peel this back a bit. Maybe Johnny wasn't ready. Now that you're this far into it, I think you go with Hoyer until you make the switch, because as John McMullen pointed out, as we've brought up yesterday, once you go, you don't, and Dan Wismar too, once you go, Johnny, that's it. You don't flip-flop back. So I think the Browns want to leave themselves that opening. It just, everything points that way to me. I could be nuts, because I think that you're doing Manziel a disservice if you name him the starter at this point too, because he's going to be shortchanged on time to get ready for the season.
Well, clearly, Jerry, neither of them are ready. But,
no.
Hoyer looks closer than Manziel right now. And to be honest with you, if he's going to get, if he's going to get deterred, Johnny, at every little turn and, be wanting to throw the bird, he's going to lose $25,000 out of every paycheck, not just this one.
I'll tell you what, man, it's funny, man. How long till people start talking about Rex Grossman? Oh man, you know what? This is not Browns related, but I do need to jump in with this because it is football related and it's just now coming. I'm checking my text messages as you're talking. The Buckeyes, Braxton Miller, MRI comes back with the absolute worst news for Ohio State Buckeyes fans.
Wow.
Braxton Miller out for the season with the right shoulder injury that he suffered yesterday during practice. Again, Braxton Miller will miss the entire upcoming football season. The MRI showed the worst possible result for the Buckeyes and their fans. And now, tomorrow Dan Wismar will be with us, but we'll be scrambling. They'll be scrambling because, as we said, you've now got it's going to be JT Barrett, who just flipped over the depth chart underneath, and so now really you've got a redshirt freshman and a sophomore here looking to step into the place of Braxton Miller. That is a crushing blow for whatever you expected the hopes of the Buckeyes to be, and to Braxton Miller for whatever perhaps future football hopes he has, because he was looking to bounce back from the concerns about his shoulder, from the concerns about him as a quarterback. He was looking to solidify his NFL prospects this year, and now all of that out the window.
Yeah, no question. And you know what the problem is there is again, Ohio State's one of those great schools but they rush the guys out the door. They want to get them in the game as sophomores, and then they graduate early once they play so well. So you really don't get a guy who's been backing up for 2 or 3 years that you really need, and that's what they're missing right now, is a guy who's been there 2 years and knows the system, since Meyer got there. And they don't have that right now.
I'm going to sound foolish with this right now, but I'm not an NCAA expert at their rules off the top of my head. Would Braxton Miller perhaps be able to, I don't know if you call it redshirt injury, whatever, get a waiver for this season? Would the option still be there for him to be able to play this season again next year?
Yeah, he'd have to apply for it, but yeah, if he could prove that he wasn't going to be able to come back this year at all, which it seems to be is the case going by the report that you're reading, he could probably apply for and receive a medical red shirt.
Still, I'm sure that's of no condolence to anybody at this stage in the game. As once again, just coming out here, I know we're talking about the Browns, not meaning to interrupt that conversation, but Braxton Miller is out for the season. The injury he suffered yesterday, throwing injury, it wasn't even a contact injury, suffered yesterday, and it is a season killer for Braxton Miller. He's going to miss the next season. You're listening to the Sports Fix, J-Rock and Dr. Football here, and I mean, it was literally 3 hours at most. He stood in front of the media yesterday and said, "I'm back. I'm 100%. I'm ready to go. We're getting ready for the season." And just hours later, bam, there it goes. Talk about just the worst timing. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow with Dan Wismar. We're talking quarterbacks abound here. We have bad play by the Browns quarterbacks. Braxton Miller is hurt here. I mean, thank God I'm not a quarterback today, man. I'll tell you. How about Colt McCoy last night? Nah, that was for my man LG. But I know a lot of people in Cleveland have their history with him, and of course he threw the interception. Although, hey man, I'll be the first one to tell you the receiver broke off his route on that interception. But regardless, I will give Colt McCoy credit. That touchdown pass at the end may have been the nicest NFL pass I've ever seen Colt McCoy throw. He hit his receiver in stride and toasted Adams back there, who had been toasted by everybody so bad he had been buttered on both sides. That may be the easiest cut for the Browns to make when it comes down to that first cut. No doubt in my mind there. Not a very good effort on that end, but I don't know. What other takeaways? I mean, we talked about defensively, and I'll tell you, I like the up front, the front seven. I like this, but it's exactly what you expected Mike Pettine's defense to be. It's a lot like that Bills defense, and in that they cause turnovers, they get sacks. They do have the ability of getting burned on the back end, and they can get gashed with some big runs in the running game, but they're able to be stout at the goal line, and they are able to get some pressure on the quarterback. That's Buffalo's defense last year.
And it's funny because right now I'm looking at the chat window, and you have at least one person that's ready for Connor Shaw to start.
Oh, yeah. Well, you get I don't know how much of that is truth and how much of that is facetious. I'm not worried about that. I mean, Connor Shaw, hopefully, I'm just hoping that the Browns are able to carry him. They may have to put him on the roster to keep him, but I'm hoping, if not, that they're able to sneak him on the practice squad. I liked him, but come on. I mean, he's out there with guys that are going to be at the Circle K next week, my man, so, but I will say, I did like the things that don't have anything to do with who you're playing with. I liked his footwork. I liked that one throw where he rolled out and threw across his body. Nice tight spiral. He threw a better ball. Not talking about yards, I mean spiral. He threw a better ball than either Manziel or Hoyer did during the game, man. So I can see why there's a lot of intrigue with Connor Shaw. I'm not in any way saying that he's even in this discussion, but I do like him as a developmental guy. I think he showed a nice little arm and some good thought process and accuracy out there. I like him. I would be very, very pleased if the Browns found a way to keep him on this season.
Yeah, I agree. And, unfortunately, there's no rule that you could protect the third quarterback. a lot of teams wish they were, and I kind of agree with them because of the way you're making, guys get beat up now in the game, even more so than ever.